everything, but mostly about mental health. We talk to mental health professionals, we talk to advocates, with the idea is that, I can speak English, didn't butcher that at all. The idea is that we get you to talk about your mental health by talking about ours. So that's what we're doing here today. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Tonight, the one, the only, hold on, it's going to be a long introduction. I was telling everybody that if somebody had told me when I started streaming 4 years ago that I would have the voice of Geralt on my show, I would have been like, get out of here. That's not what happens. So without further ado, Doug Cockle! Hi, Doug!
Hello, everyone.
So that I don't butcher this further, Doug will be introducing himself and telling you all the awesome things he does. And if he misses anything, I will try to fill in the gaps.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know anything about me, it's probably most of you, to be honest, but you probably know about Geralt of Rivia if you're a gamer. So I'm the actor who did all the games for the Witcher game series, playing Geralt of Rivia and all of those, and I can prove it. Winds howling. So there you go. But I've done other things as well, so you might find me in numerous other games. I just recently had a game come out called Tales of Iron. You can go check it out. I play the narrator in that, and it's doing really well. Band of Brothers, Reign of Fire, Survivor, various other things. Yeah, so if you look around, look me up, you can get to know a little bit more about me. I've also been a teacher at college level for those of you in the US, university level for those in the UK. So I've done a lot of teaching in higher education as well, teaching acting. So that's me in a nutshell. Oh, and I'm married and I have 2 teenage boys.
Oh,
and a dog.
That's the worst part. The dog is great. The worst part is the teenage boys.
Yeah.
No. I joke terribly. But thank you so much. The chat is going wild. People are very, very, very excited to have you here. So very, very stoked. Also, we love a teacher. I didn't actually know that you also teach on top of everything. So that's just like bonus points right there.
Yeah. Well, I don't at the moment, but I've worked at 2 universities over here in the UK. By the way, I'm in the UK, everybody.
It
England.
is very late. We owe Doug so much money. His fee for speaking late is like $1 million. Everybody, the fundraiser is right after the show. No, I'm kidding. He's actually just like the best. He's the best. He's just willingly just said, it's okay, I will come on this late onto the show. I did not coerce him at all. Don't tell them that I coerced you. Go along with it. All right, so we're gonna hope I don't like fangirl too hard over here. But yeah, woohoo, Team UK. We do have a lot of people from the UK who watch the show, who I guess don't sleep and choose to watch the show instead. So you're not alone in staying up late. I appreciate that very much. All right, we don't have too much time before you literally will turn into a pumpkin. We're trying to hold off as much as possible, but we are getting to the witching hour. Okay, so
no pun intended.
No, absolutely. Why would any pun be intended? We're absolutely very serious on the show. I'm sure you could tell by now. Yeah. So my first question to you and to every guest I always have on is, why is mental health important to you?
Well, why wouldn't it be? I mean, we have to live with ourselves, don't we? And with other people as well. So, I personally would prefer to move through this life in a pleasant way, enjoying my experiences and having fun.
And being aware of your mental health is a huge, huge part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to know, I guess, when we talk about mental health, immediately my first thought is, I actually do have quite a few actor friends, and they're close in my hearts because acting is one of those professions that largely depends on you being around a lot of people for them to enjoy it. Whether it is, if you are in a movie, people have to want to go to the movie theater. If you are on a stage, people have to all want to go into a regular theater, and so yeah, how's the last year been, Doug?
Well, it hasn't been easy.
No.
And for anybody. So, I'm not certainly not having a pity party here. Um, it hasn't been easy, and a lot of actors have, and I mean, you can say this about musicians and other people who perform in any kind of way, shape, or form, dancers, have had a really rough year because, like you say, what we do relies on getting together. We couldn't all just go home and work from the office, and there are a lot of jobs like that. So I'm sure there are people on here tonight who do things that they couldn't do remotely either. I was very fortunate, though, in that the games industry tried very hard and did succeed in many ways in moving to remote recording. So I did have work. I didn't have as much as I would have liked, but I had enough to make it through. So that's the important thing. But I have friends who have had a really, really hard time and are still having a very hard time. So it's an industry that's having a very gradual recovery from this whole thing.
Definitely, definitely. And how is being at home and all of that, and so there's the question of like being able to provide for yourself during this time, and then there's the question of just being at home, and then there's the question of there's so much to talk about mental health when it comes to acting and being and how it affects you as a man differently. Of course, like we have all kinds of people from all walks of life come on and talk about how mental health is different for them. So I would just love to kind of dive in and further get an idea of your experience, both in, how have you been handling it in the past year? What have you been doing to cope? How do you feel like it's been different for you than others? How do you feel like it's been the same? The whole thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much I can speak for others. It's hard to do that. But yeah, it's been an interesting year for me. And I made some decisions in the heat of the moment, I suppose, that I think probably helped me quite a bit. Looking ahead and kind of foreseeing what was coming.
Sure.
When the pandemic hit, I was about 3 months into a new teaching job. Actually, I'd gone back to teaching, and I hadn't given up acting in any way, shape, or form. I missed students. I like teaching; it's enjoyable, and I learn about myself through doing it. So we went into lockdown over here in the UK in March, and I did what everybody else did. Panicked, went, oh my God, what are we going to do with all this? Tried to get my students through the rest of the semester, and then it was all very, very difficult. Everybody knows this. Everybody experienced this. And I'm not happy to say, I'm willing to say that my anxiety was through the roof. It was not an easy time because there were a lot of demands that were heightened. And then the university decided to discontinue my role. So suddenly I was looking at freelance life in the middle of a pandemic.
So was everybody else.
Yeah, with everybody else. So it was a real kind of moment of, wow, okay, well, this year this isn't going to be the only lockdown. I'm sure of that. What can I do to make this year work? What can I do to make this year, when we come out the other end, what will I be able to say I've done? So this was kind of an unconscious process of me trying to protect my mental health, I think. So I signed on to do an MBA at my local university.
Whoa.
The Masters of Business Administration. So in September 2020, I started that. So the rest of this pandemic, I've been kind of riding it out with the odd bits of work and this really intensive year of a master's degree. I already have a master's degree, but it's in acting, and this was something completely different that I was really quite interested in. So that was something that I did to try and make sure that my mental health was being looked after, keeping myself busy, learning something new. And I really enjoyed it. And it was hard. it was difficult and challenging because it was all online, all remote. And so I got to know some of my classmates, but it was a different kind of getting to know you, you know. Um, but having said that, having put that in place, there were some really, really challenging times. Financially, my wife's businesses were really struggling. We had in, I think, all three of the lockdowns, we ended up, and a fourth one as well. Two teenage sons, 19 and now 19 and 17. And when the first lockdown hit, it was just the four of us, and occasionally my oldest son's girlfriend. And then the other two lockdowns, it was me and my wife and three teenagers and the dog stuck in a house that's not huge. There's not a lot of places to go to get away from people. So there was a lot of time spent with a lot of people, and that was challenging. So what Marianne and I decided to do was we decided we would get out for a walk every day.
Oh, that's what we started doing too. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people did that just to get out of the house.
Yeah, just to be in another place. That's not.
Yeah, exactly. And the combination of being in another place, and we'd try to walk paths that went through parks and things like that. Connecting with nature a little bit, but also just the exercise. So we got some little, not Fitbits, but kind of like Fitbit watches, so we could track our heart rates and things like that. So we did things like that. But even so, there were times when it was just horrible, terrible, and one or the other of us had to pick the other one up and say, look, we got food, we got heat, we're fine.
Yeah, focusing on what you can control and what you are grateful for. Absolutely. And so I guess going back to acting and everything. So you were saying that the industry had to evolve, and how has just in general acting helped your mental health during this time, if it did at all, or did it kind of create another barrier because of the income issue and everything?
Well, you're absolutely right. It's kind of a funny little conundrum, isn't it? Because I like what I do. I enjoy it.
Right.
So when I'm acting, I'm quite happy. It feels good. And I guess kind of like, exercise. For me, acting, I don't know if it actually does, but it feels like it releases endorphins, the feel-good ones, serotonin and stuff like that.
Anything that makes you happy, of course, it must.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, I wasn't doing nearly as much of it as I would have liked.
Right.
But that's where the MBA came in. It was something to occupy my mind and my time so that I wasn't dwelling on the global state of affairs too much.
Yeah.
I also comfort 8.
Oh, what? Yeah. Well, that's just. Yeah. That's also all of us. I had to restart healthy eating this year because I had gone to just. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's a survival mode thing, but there was definitely a part of me that's just like, I'm gonna eat cookies again because I want to, damn it. And then and then would be the next day, I'm gonna eat cookies because I want to. And then after a while, it's like, I think I've had too many cookies, but now I don't want to eat anything else.
For me, it's bread and cheese.
Oh,
in any combination.
Oh my God. Oh God, that's good. I mean, that's it. Wine, bread and cheese, or just bread and cheese?
No, bread and cheese. Could be crackers and cheese. Could be a quesadilla. Could be. I love quesadillas.
Quesadillas is where it's at.
We started making what we accurately describe as tortilla pizzas. Just take a plain tortilla, chuck it in a pan, put cheese on it. Use salsa if you want, or tomato sauce or whatever. And then a little bit of cheese, whatever other toppings you want to throw on.
Yeah. The community's saying, "Duh, great! I'm hungry now." It's a tortilla.
Tortilla.
Tortilla. So okay. So let's take the panorama, Panini, Panasonic aside. Let's take all the things aside, and let's just talk about acting and your journey as an actor, and how what gaming has been like. Because a lot of the things that, how people have gotten through the pandemic. I know how I've gotten through the pandemic, and from my community is of course is gaming, and that sense of community that does come with gaming. So how has it been being part of that world, being part of that space for other people?
Uh, in context of the pandemic or just in general?
Uh, I
Hmm,
guess both. Has that changed? Like, do you feel like in general it was different, and then with the pandemic that changed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. um, First of all, it's a fantastic community to be a part of. It really is. I have met so many wonderful people um, because of Geralt, really.
Right.
But I mean, even before Geralt, I was a gamer. I had gaming friends.
Oh,
I loved my acting friends.
what's your favorite game?
No, The Witcher, of
Oh,
course.
okay. Well, I don't know. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? You're gonna say, "Wow"? Come on. All right. Sorry. Next. Go on. Go back. I never asked the other
No,
one. Go on.
no, I have another answer to that. I have another answer to that.
Okay.
Okay, there was a game that came out in I want to say 1999, maybe 2000.
Okay.
And I got heavily into this game.
Okay.
And it was a Microsoft game called Asheron's Call.
Okay.
And it was one of the first, if anybody remembers uh, EverQuest or I want to say Warhammer, but I'm not sure that that's right.
Amy Rose says that she beta tested that game.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
So Asheron's Call, I got really into that. And I played it for a good couple of years. And then I moved on to Asheron's Call 2. And I don't know quite why. I never quite got into that one as much.
Huh.
And at some point, I just kind of had to walk away from it because I was spending, if I wasn't doing an acting job, I was spending all day long playing Asheron's Call.
That's a good game. That is a sign of a good game. Yeah. Amy says she might still have the install disc somewhere. Oh my goodness. What is a disc? No, I'm kidding. I'm not that young. But okay, all right. Sorry. So going back before that silly question, but sorry, going forward with the previous question. So being part of the gaming community, being part of that space, and having been a gamer, and I guess everything that means to you, and how that pre-pandemic, being part of that community pre-pandemic versus during, and as we go on.
I mean, so many things changed. I think I think I have to separate it into kind of eras.
Okay.
I mean, there was the era when I was just a gamer,
Mm-hmm.
and I just enjoyed playing video games. And then when I started doing voices for video games, it was a different thing. Suddenly, I was in this thing that I enjoyed doing, um, and and that was really exciting. But at the same time, it's not something that was terribly well respected in the acting world.
Right. It's different.
Um,
Very different.
well, and people just didn't think of it as real acting. But as the games got more involved and more complicated, and the acting became, the characters became more three-dimensional,
Mm-hmm.
people started to recognize, that hey, this is real acting stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So that gradually changed, and then Witcher 3 came out. Witcher 1 and 2, there wasn't so much of this, but Witcher
Right.
3 came out, and
Right.
suddenly I found a lot of attention being, pointed my direction. Um, and that changed it again. So I've had different roles and places in the community. Pre-pandemic, what I was starting to experience for several years was a really cool thing, going to conventions. I get
Oh.
invited to go to gaming and anime conventions and things like that. And I understand you've been to some as well.
Oh
Some,
my
various
gosh, I
things,
miss them so
TwitchCon, and
much. I miss them
yeah.
so much.
So yeah, so you totally get this.
Yeah.
You know, I go to these conventions, and people would come for to have me sign autographs and things like that. And I'd meet all these wonderful people, and the atmosphere is just so incredibly positive, you know? And I was
Yeah.
terrified. The first convention I went to, I was absolutely terrified because I didn't know what was expected of me. I didn't really know what to do. I showed up with nothing to sign.
Oh, well, I
I
mean,
didn't,
but somebody should have told you. Hold on, I'm not giving you the
I
blame for
know.
that. Somebody should have been like, "Hey, you might want to bring
Yeah.
something to put your name on." Oh
No,
my
thankfully
gosh.
the convention, the people who were running the convention were really cool. And I saw all these other people from other games and various other things pulling things out of suitcases and stuff and putting them on. And I was like, they had banners and
Mhm, mhm.
tablecloths and everything. And I was just like, I was sat there. I brought some Sharpies with a blank table, and my handler was sitting next to me going, "Didn't you bring anything?" I'm like,
No,
"No,
did
I
you?
didn't know I was supposed to."
Did you? Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh no.
I got my
I wouldn't know
wallet.
what to do with. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I
So
look. You had the Sharpie, so
I had the
you
Sharpie.
thought ahead a little, as
Yeah.
much as you could.
Now the organizers were really cool. I explained the situation. She said, "Oh no, we should have told you." And they ran off and they printed off some stuff for me to sign. So
Oh,
that was
cool.
cool.
All
Yeah,
right, good.
but it's the atmosphere and the people you meet, you know, and just the pure
Yeah.
joy at celebrating the, you know, the things that they love so much, and being around that energy is just so. Uh, it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
infectious.
It's very I found for me it's also very rewarding. It's very like,
Mm,
oh, this is what I do this for. Like,
mm,
I come on and I do these interviews and I share this time with the person I'm interviewing and I learn something about them. Maybe they share something that they've never shared before, or just in general, we have this space and I see people and I see their names scroll by and chat. And it's very different when those people stop by and say, "Oh, during this episode, you talked to so and so." And then that made me feel something. And I went to see a therapist because of that. Or I
mm.
looked into my mental health, because whatever that is, that is such a gratifying experience. Have you felt something like that with the Witcher community?
Yeah, yeah. Quite often, I get messages from people, um, and I sometimes I answer them if it seems like it's needed.
Hmm.
But I try not to get into that because I get so many of them that I could spend half the day just replying to people on DMs. Um, but I've had some beautiful messages from people who just write in. They don't want to reply. They're
They
just
just want
writing
you
in to
to know.
say they just want me to know. And a lot of them are things where they, you know, not even during pandemic, is, you know, before, where they just want me to know that the game helped them through a really, really rough time.
Oh.
I had this one girl at MomoCon in Atlanta. She came up to my table for an autograph, and she couldn't speak. She was trembling. She was so nervous.
Oh no.
And you know, I'm a pretty friendly guy. This is
Yeah.
pre-pandemic, so I
Yeah.
came around the table and I you know, shook her hand. And I said hello, and she said, "Can I have a hug?" And I said, "Yes, of course. You know, you can have a hug." So I gave her a hug, and she said to me, she said, "You have no idea how much The Witcher means to me. My mom died just before the game came out, and I was so depressed and so upset, and the only thing that could keep my mind off of what had happened was playing The Witcher, and it helped me get through that time." And and she said some other things I won't
Sure,
say here,
sure,
but
sure.
um, you know, it's, and then I've had several experiences like that, and it brings it home to you because sometimes, as I'm sure you get this as well, sometimes um, as an actor, you do your work and it comes out, and you know, you go, "Hey, fantastic, that's out there. Look what I did,"
Yeah.
right? And you don't, unless you do something like The Witcher, or unless people are really, really meticulous about finding, you know, if they're really affected by something, they go and find someone um, who has been part of that to say thank you or something like that. You don't hear about it. So you don't know what kind of effect you might actually be having out there in the world. You know, sometimes as an actor, you can just feel like you're just a clown bouncing around on a stage. You know,
Yeah.
maybe you make people laugh, maybe they forget about their troubles for a while, but you know, so sometimes that feedback is very indirect. So there's moments when someone actually tells you something very, very personal and how something that you've done has positively affected their life. That's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Um, and, I have to say that those kinds of experiences, I think also are something that I store in the back of my mind for those times when I doubt myself and, or when I'm feeling a bit low about not having work or
Right.
not having feedback from work or whatever it is. So yeah, things like that really important.
I
And
have. Oh,
hmm,
sorry. No, 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 no. I didn't know you were. Go ahead.
well, I think it's such an incredible thing. Games and gaming. I mean, the impact on mental health, I think, is for most people, it's absolutely positive. We've heard those studies about how games make people more violent. Is that
Which are,
I
yeah.
don't. If
Woof.
someone's affected that way by a game, then they were already inclined that way anyways. So
Yeah, there's that,
it
and
could have been
also,
something else.
there's follow-up research that says that if you are affected by a video game that makes you feel Rachel Cohort does a way better job explaining these, by the way, Dr. Rachel Cohort on she's on Twitter and everywhere. She's amazing. But yeah, if a video game were to make you violent, it only apparently lasts minutes. And the way that she's talked about it is like it's the equivalent of like, you'd go like see an action movie as a kid and then you'd come out of the movie and maybe you'd like beat up your brother or something. But then like you're done after that. Like you got that
Yeah,
energy out and then you're done. You're not actually going to go and like jump off a building like James Bond. You're just all right.
yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
sorry, continue.
Well, I mentioned that only because I was going to mention something I heard on the radio, on Radio 4 over here, which is kind of like NPR in the US,
Mhm.
talk radio, radio plays, things like that. And they had this segment on the show. I don't remember for the life of me what it was. It's one of those things, you're just driving in the car and you're listening to Radio 4 and this comes on. And it was, but it was all about video games during the pandemic.
Mhm.
And there was this guy on there, just a member of the public, called in, and the host was saying, "So how have video games helped you in this time?" And he basically said, "Well, I'm your classic case of a guy who can't talk about how he's feeling,
Mm.
and I was alone in my apartment for the lockdown, and I was lonely and I was depressed and I was anxious and I wasn't getting the work. I don't remember what his job was, but he was financially strapped as well,
Mhm.
and he had friends who were sick, and his world was literally crumbling around him. He felt, but one of his friends got him to order. I think it was Call of Duty, one of those multiplayer online
Mhm. Mhm.
team shoot 'em things. I'm so knowledgeable about them, obviously.
So am I. You're
um,
fine. Go ahead.
but he got on that with a group of his buddies, and he said that half the time they'd be playing the game, and half the time they'd be talking about what they were feeling
Yes. It's a
and what was going
conduit.
on.
Yep.
So it provided a platform for him and possibly his buddies as well to talk about his mental health, to talk about what he was feeling, and to support his friends as well. So I mean, I think that's a beautiful example of how games can be such a positive influence on mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really a beautiful thing. I have to read this comment out loud that somebody left in chat. One Winged Dema says, been playing The Witcher for years. Geralt and his friends saved me through the pandemic. I can't thank Doug enough for his performance as Geralt over the years. Playing The Witcher feels like visiting old friends time and time again. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Oh, there you go.
There
You're
you
very
go.
welcome.
Um,
and now I'm all aflutter with good feelings.
Yeah. So what I do is I have a big head. So what I do is I save these comments and then when I'm really feeling bad about myself, I will actually look through the screenshots. I have a folder that I look at, it's called compliments, and I look through and I save them per date and I look through the folder and just see, that I've helped people, and it helps a lot.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. One winged Deva continues. I work as a nurse, and being frontline during the pandemic was tough. Geralt saved me in other ways, but during the pandemic, I felt like I was talking to an old friend.
Oh, well, can I just say, who is it? One wing. Sorry, I've got the chat
One
up, but I
winged
can't see it
Emma.
because it's so tiny.
It's tiny.
One
Yeah.
winged Dema. One winged Dema, whoever you are in real life, and don't feel that you have to share. Thank you for being a nurse during this time. I know how hard you work. I have nurses in my family. And so thank you. Thank you for being on the front line and for giving everything that you've given over this past year and a half.
Thank you. Oh. Okay. This is beautiful, beautiful discussion. So do you ever and before we get, because the audience has asked a few questions, and please keep in mind, anybody who wants to ask questions, this is moderated. So if your question doesn't ask, you can always come back to me and say, why didn't you ask that? And I will always tell you, hey, that wasn't appropriate, or that wasn't something we were comfortable talking about, or whatever it is. But please know, so exclamation Q will give you instructions on how to enter the questions into the queue. If they're not in the list, I will miss them, so please put them in the list. Okay, so that all being said, I guess my question to you is, so how do you draw a boundary then? Because so what will happen with me, I talk about mental health a lot, and what will happen with me is people will come onto the show or in my DMs, and they will share about their mental health, and it breaks my heart, but I have to set a boundary saying, I'm so sorry, but I'm not a mental health professional. I can't help you with this issue. I'm grateful you shared, or, thankful, but you have to go to the appropriate resources, and here's Safe in Our World, and here's Take This, and here's, all these wonderful places that we can send people to that I'm very grateful for, and we raise money for them on the show. And so do you ever worry about that you have to set boundaries between, like, okay, that's Geralt and that's great, but I'm Doug, and as Doug, I can't be Geralt for you. I cannot, help you. I'm not gonna go and get this werewolf out of your house. Can't help you with that. That's something Geralt can do, but I can't. Do you ever feel like you have to establish those boundaries, or do you feel like the community has been largely, okay?
The community's been largely okay with me. I can't speak for other voice actors in big games, but I haven't had anybody. No, I have actually recently. I'm probably forgetting some incidents. I don't feel that this is something I've had to particularly deal with.
Okay.
I did have someone on Instagram. What I tend to get, I will come back to the core of the question.
Sure. No, go wherever you want to go.
What I tend to get is people who think that I know Henry Cavill personally, and I'm a hotline to him. So I get people DMing me saying, "Yeah, I know."
Well, that's the only reason I had you on the show.
He lives in my backyard or something.
Oh, darn. All right. Well, this interview's over.
I get these DMs basically saying, "Can you please get me a meeting with Henry Cavill? I love him so much. I just want to talk to him." And I'm going, what am I? My lights are flickering. My ghost is present.
The ghost is here.
I did have someone recently who obviously had something going on. And they tried to get me to moderate an argument between them and another person online.
Oh no!
Eventually I just had to say, I'm really sorry, I can't help you with this.
Right.
Please stop DMing me. They didn't stop, so I had to block them in the end. But it didn't feel good.
No.
I would have liked to have helped them, but there was no way I could help them. They needed professional help. So I haven't experienced it in terms of Geralt, but I have experienced it with students a lot. I've spent 14 years teaching full-time in education while doing The Witcher. By the way, for all of you who are big Witcher fans, every single one of the games and DLCs were recorded while I was the course leader of a university course. So I was recording sometimes 2 or 3 days a week, and then
Oof.
putting in the hours over the weekend to
Oof.
keep the course running. So I was managing staff, managing students, everything. So it was a busy time.
Mm.
But what I noticed over the years, I taught from 2004 to 2017, and then last year for about 6-7 months, and I noticed, even with the gap between my previous job and the most recent one, progressively that mental health issues are becoming a real issue. And I every week, because I was the program coordinator for the second job, so I was the boss, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Every week, I would have at least 3 or 4 students in my office with real issues, real concerns. And so I just had a weird notice come up on my screen.
No.
And it was difficult because all I could really do, aside from give them an extension on their work,
Right.
or listen to them,
Right.
hear them out,
Mm-hmm.
and try to understand what they were experiencing, is send them to student services to talk to a counselor. And it was difficult because some of them clearly really just wanted my help.
Right.
And some of them had been to student services multiple times, and they hadn't had any results.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something that I noticed, that, and at least they were reaching out.
Right. That's so important. Right.
Yeah, but I did find that was also taking a toll on me,
Of course.
because I had a job to do, and it's escaping me what it's called. Basically, looking after students' well-being is part of what you do as a teacher.
Okay.
I was finding that I was spending a lot of time in a semi-counselor role.
Oh my goodness.
And you can't help
No.
but take on some of those concerns that the students bring to you. You can't help it.
But it's because the
So
system is awful. The system
yeah,
fails us. And so people end up leaning on people who are not equipped or the right resource because they need help. And they're looking at you, not just as an authority, but as just as an authority on things. And so maybe about life something that will unlock how I feel and make me feel better. And it's unfortunate.
yeah.
It's unfortunate. I wish and I hope and I think we are getting to a place, thanks to the amazing programs that are out there now, we are getting to a place where people have easier access to resources, but we still have such a long way to go.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. You mentioned Safe in Our World, and Take This was the other one?
Yeah, Take This they're basically safe in our world in the US. That's the
Right,
yeah.
okay.
They're
I hadn't heard
friends.
of them before.
Oh, they're great. So Take This, it's like in Zelda, it's dangerous to go alone. Take This. So they offer mental health
Oh,
resources and everything. And I'm an ambassador for both. That's why I always mention one and the other in any conversation.
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. And for those watching as well, that's partly how we kind of
Connected,
hooked
right?
up, as it were. Yeah, because I'm a patron for Safe in Our World over here in the UK. Um, what did you ask me originally before
You
I
know what?
started?
I don't remember, and you answered it. Whatever your answer was really thoughtful and deep. And I think, if anybody's like exceptionally upset, please remind us what I asked, because I can't tell you. I know the conversation got into a beautiful place. That's all I can tell you.
There is one thing I wish I could have done this. This came up while I was still teaching, I think, if I remember correctly. Safe in Our World sent out an email, and they were offering a free mental health first aid course.
Yes, They still offer that. Yes.
Do they?
Yes, they
Are
do.
they still doing it?
Yes.
Because I really wanted to do it, but I looked at the dates and I just went, oh, that's going to be a
No,
real push
they
for
still
me.
offer the course. They offer it periodically, and it's ongoing. But Mental Health First Aid is a great organization in general, and there is a UK branch, and I believe in certain places you can get the training for free. I don't know. I'm assuming Safe in Our World is a nonprofit, so I'm assuming that you should pay like a donation in order to get the training from Safe in Our World. I'm not sure, but I know that there are ways in the US and in the UK, because I've talked to people about it, that you can get that training for free. And it is so crucial, because the idea is that, it doesn't make you a professional. It just makes you know what to do and what to say when somebody approaches you with that.
Yeah. Have you done it?
Yes, I've mental health, and I got recertified.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you can recommend it then?
Yes, I have a whole piece on my blog about it, about why I recommend mental health first aid training. I cannot recommend it enough. There's free options too. There's something called nostigmas.org, and they have a course. It doesn't make you like officially certified from the mental health first aid organization, but the course does it's still a course that'll give you an idea of what to do. And Take This offers one for all of their ambassadors. Safe in Our World offers one. But yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Again, it doesn't make you a professional. It doesn't put any burden on you of now you have to save the world. It's just, now you know what to say. Now you know what to do if somebody comes. Now you know where to send them. Yeah. I did.
It's the equivalent of stopping the bleeding.
Yes, it is the equivalent, or putting a tourniquet, or putting somebody's hand in a sling. It's the equivalent of that. Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to look into that again.
Please do.
I thought it was just a one-off with Safe in Our World.
No, they were. So if you follow them on Twitter, I know they just recently tweeted about it. So I know Twitter hides stuff that you actually want to freaking see. So you gotta go and check out their actual tweets once in a while. But yeah. Yes. Okay. We have a few questions in the backlog, and I want to get to them because they're actually really, really good questions from the community. So Bell Lover asked the first question, which is, is one missing? Hold on. Hold on. Bliffy, can you ask your question again? Because I don't see it. I don't see it in the queue. All right, so here's the link, Doug, if you want to see the questions yourself. But the first question from Bell Lover is, what is your dream voice acting role, if it's not Geralt? And can be in a game or in any other form of media.
Dream voice acting role. I think I've already had it, to be honest.
Yeah? Aww.
I have to say, I mean, I do, yeah. It's, I've always been a fan of high fantasy. I grew up on Lord of the Rings and the Dragon Riders of Pern, and high fantasy novels and stuff like that. So I've always loved it. So being part of The Witcher has just been fantastic. And I was there for the whole ride, and for an actor, that's really rare. Most actors, they spend their entire careers going from job to job to job, changing jobs every 6 weeks to, I mean, sometimes every 2 or 3 days.
Right.
So to be involved and to play one character over the course of whatever it was, 13, 14 years, was a dream job.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really answer the question. I'll tell you what, a challenge. It's a challenge that I would love to take on if someone were to do this. I would love to do something like play Hamlet in an audiobook version,
like
of
an audio
Hamlet.
drama.
Audio drama, yeah. Or any other major Shakespeare character. I love Shakespeare, and I love to perform Shakespeare. And it's been a while. So I would love to do something like that. That would be fun.
That'd be cool. Man, why? Wait, hold on. We remake everything. Why aren't all the Shakespeare plays games yet? Right? Like, come on. What? I think, I mean, they made Lion King out of Hamlet. Like, why? You don't think that they could do a really good job making a video game out of Hamlet? I bet they could. If they haven't.
I suppose the thing is, you know, if you know the play, then you already know the ending. So why bother playing the game?
What if they give you options and like, what if they gave you options to like change it? Like maybe everybody doesn't die in the end. Spoiler. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you haven't read Hamlet. I'm sorry.
I mean, they've made Lord of the Rings games, haven't they?
Yeah, well, but they're off lore. Like because Lord of the Rings is so vast, right? I mean, you open the Silmarillion and there's like 4,000 more stories in there that nobody's heard of yet. So the world is so big. Shakespeare didn't really build lore as much as he built plays, right?
Yeah, he just told stories.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Ace says, you're all making this English teacher really happy and excited by spoiling Hamlet. I'm sorry. Wait, there is a Hamlet video game? All right. It looks like Doug and I have to do some research. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I mean,
I can see a video game being built around Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Okay, there you go.
Because they're two characters who kind of flit in and out of the various things that happen in the play.
Right.
So what happens between those various flittings in and out of different scenes? So the game could be about how they're exploring Elsinore Castle or something like that. I mean, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Wait.
A bit like Myst, or did you know the game What Remains of Edith Finch?
I know of it. I've never finished. I didn't play through it. I do know it. Yeah.
You've got to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can play through it I've played through twice now. I think the first time it was 7 hours, and the second time it was 4 hours because I knew the story and I was just re-experiencing it.
Okay.
But it's more like an interactive graphic novel.
Oh, that's what we were just playing. Life is Strange. Those games are like that. Yeah.
So, and it actually has a pretty serious mental health theme as well.
Yes, I do know. Yeah. It's listed on the Safe in Our World website as a mental health game.
Is it? Oh, I haven't looked recently. I love that game. When I first played it, it blew my mind. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I forgot to mention that when you asked me about my favorite game.
Well, it's okay. We're circling back.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern and their adventures off script.
Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah, that could. Listen, everybody be quiet. You heard it here first. We have video evidence. You pitch this and don't hire Doug to play Hamlet. He will come after you and haunt you. I don't know.
Why not? Up on the ramparts.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Nathaniel asks, do you ever get uncomfortable hearing your own voice played back? Because like the recordings of my own voice never sound like what I think they should sound like. This is a really interesting question for voice actors because you're not actually doing your own voice either. Like you're doing another person's voice. I mean, it's kind of yours.
Yeah.
Sorry, answer the question. Sorry.
I think you get used to it.
Okay.
I think I don't think you have to be a real narcissist to hear your voice back
and be like
in a recording and not be like, I don't sound like that. That's not me. I sound weird. Do I sound like that? Yeah,
I'm so
everybody
sorry.
does that to a certain extent.
Right.
Yeah. And we do that in videos as well. We go, wow, do I look like that? Oh God, what did I do?
All the time. All the time.
All that kind of stuff. So actors do that too, but the added layer that you add with an actor is that they don't just go, ooh, cringe. They go, ooh, cringe. I could have done that so much better.
Ooh, you know, that's true. I have not watched one interview back. Like people will send me clips of interviews that affect it. I have not watched one interview back without going, did I ask that? That was the dumbest thing I could have possibly. Did I stutter? Did I really stutter asking them what for their favorite color? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, especially once you learn to kind of self-critique in a positive way. Yeah. Then you're looking for the flaws so you can fix them.
Right. For next time. You're
Yeah.
learning. Right. Bailey Cream asks, ooh, I'm so happy somebody asked this. What is your favorite line or scene from voicing the Witcher games? I would
I
assume
don't
it's
have a
stuff people
favorite
make you
line.
repeat a bunch, no?
Yeah, well, there's things like winds howling, and looks like rain, and get off the damn roof, Roach. You know, which isn't actually a line in the game, I don't think. Um, but sorry, I hope that was still PG-13.
Oh yeah. No, you're fine.
I've heard you say worse. Actually, I'm okay.
Today's episode is not a good indicator. Oh no. Oh no.
Um, oh, what was the question again? What were we talking about? Oh, favorite line
Yeah.
or
Favorite
scene.
line or scene. Yeah.
My, I don't have a favorite line.
Okay.
Uh, favorite scene is it's one. It's actually a cut scene. There's two actually, but the one that comes to mind first is, and I don't remember where in the game this happens, but it's a cut scene of Geralt and Ciri having a kind of father-daughter moment. He gives her a piggyback ride. They I vaguely remember it. It was the feeling of it that I remember more than the actual thing. It was just a moment of happiness. These two people who love each other dearly, and despite various challenges, and it was a moment where all the troubles were gone and they were just having a pure moment of joy together. Uh, I remember it as a meadow and a field with some trees, and there's a piggyback ride, and there's laughter, and it felt to me like a father-daughter kind of moment. And I just remember that cutscene because it made me go, "That's what this game is actually about. That's the heart of this game." So that's my favorite scene. I do have, though, this came up, if I may digress a tiny bit,
Yeah.
because it's not my favorite scene, but I tell you what, I think it's one of the more important moments in the game, one of many, but one of the more important ones, and it's a life lesson as well. Not that I hadn't learned it before, but I think it was one of those things that retrospectively I looked back and I went, that was the right thing to do. And it's if you haven't played, this is a bit of a spoiler.
It's okay.
But hopefully it's a positive spoiler. If you have played the game, then you probably know where I'm talking about. It's the snowball fight.
Okay.
You have an option in the game to have a snowball fight with Ciri.
Okay.
She asks, and you have choices to make. You can say yes, you can say no, you can say something like maybe later, or something like that's a bit childish, isn't it? I don't remember what the actual options were, but there was a range of options you could choose. And what I learned from that was, in terms of a life lesson, and this is good for mental health as well, I think, is just say yes to the snowball fight. Because good things come from it.
Aww. I love that.
So, yeah. So I think it's one of those things, we're faced with choices every day, multiple times a day. And some of those choices you do have to say no to. But if it's something that doesn't demand too much from you, creates joy in the world, and has the possibility of benefiting you or others or both, then what's the harm in taking a little time to say yes to the snowball fight?
I love that.
We get so busy in our lives, it's easy to say no. I don't have time.
We don't take the moment. I love that so much. That's a great focus practice of mindfulness. So I'm all for it here. Okay. Next question. Because we're running low on time, and Doug has to go sleep. And don't forget, he will become a pumpkin. We have to. We're rushing the clock here. One Winged Emma asks, Regis and Dandelion are my favorite characters that Geralt holds dear. Geralt holds dear to his heart in the books and games. Do you have a favorite interaction with both of them in the games?
Regis and which one?
Dandelion.
Dandelion. There are so many things that just get mixed up in my head, you know?
I mean, it's a lot, and it's not exactly like this happened yesterday.
Yeah. I haven't done a playthrough of Witcher 3 for several years.
We're gonna be playing on Thursday for my beginner
Yeah,
game
I
review
heard,
series.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it your first time?
It's
Oh.
we review games to see if they're beginner friendly. So I'm not very good at video games, and so I review to see if I can play it at all. So we'll see.
Well, you've got the choice with Witcher. I assume it's Witcher 3?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the choice to play on Death March
Right.
or something in between, or Please Hold My Hand.
Yes, that's the one. We always pick "Please Hold Your" in every game. It's always itty bitty baby mode. Please walk me through this as
That's what I
gently
played
as
it on.
possible. Yeah, because I want to experience the story. I even might go back sometimes and play something on a more difficult level, but I want to. Yeah, I go in for the story first. I want to see what the writers cooked up for me. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll have experienced this from other games, I'm sure. I think it is a bit challenging in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
just learning how to do what,
Mm-hmm.
how
Sure,
to
sure,
work the
sure.
controller,
Right,
all
right,
that
right.
stuff. But once you're through that and you get into White Orchard and stuff, it's story time.
Yes. All right. Good. 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 Okay. So no favorite interaction that you could point to with Regis and Dandelion specifically.
Not that I can
Unfortunately.
think
All
of,
right.
but I will say that there are some beautiful moments with Regis in in Blood and Wine. And I mean, you're hard picked to choose, really. There's just this beautiful friendship that emerges suddenly between Geralt and Regis that we hadn't really clocked before, but it's in the books.
Okay. I didn't know I need to. I was kind of like, if I watch the Netflix show and I get into the games, I'm good. But it sounds like I need to get into these books, and I'm really excited about that.
The books are excellent. If you
Yeah.
like high fantasy
Oh,
novels,
I
then they
do.
are excellent.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm in. I'm in. Next question from Dark Acid. What advice would you give to someone who's interested in voice acting? What is. Oh my gosh, Dark Acid always asks this question, but answer the first one first.
Advice for getting into voice acting. My advice is always to first and foremost get some experience in acting.
Makes sense.
Doesn't have to be formal. It can be informal. You could sign up with a local amateur club or something like that. Do some improv training, whatever, anything. Just get your head around what acting is and how to do it. If you can get formal training, all the better, because basically directors in the voice acting world will talk to you with acting terminology. So if you can get some, just basic acting classes would help. I mean, that's one place to start. Another place I point people to is there are various organizations that are there for people who are starting out in voice acting, or people who just want to brush up their skills, or who want to network, or whatever it is. Various organizations, they are subscriber situations, but they have like webinars, they have recorded webinars, they have training sessions, they have networking events, things like that. So if you're someone just getting started and you're really serious about this, paying the money to join and take some of the online classes about how to do this thing called voice acting could be really, really helpful. So in the UK, for example, I don't know what there is in the US. I've lived over here for over 20 years. So my industry understanding is really based in the UK. Over here, there's the VoiceOver Network and Gravy for the Brain, which are both available online. and you can look them up and check them out. And that's a good place to start if you've got a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think Gravy for the Brain, I think they've got a deal on at the moment for something like £29 for 29 pounds a month. I don't know, something like that. But I would say it's worth investing a little bit of time and possibly money to dip your toes in the water, because it is a tough industry. And some voice actors, many actually, would say now that the market is saturated. So if you're someone looking to get into voice acting specifically, at this point in time, you really, really have got some competition out there. Not just from, seasoned professionals like myself, but from hundreds, thousands of people who wake up one morning and go, I could do that. And they buy a microphone and they download some software, recording software, and they start subscribing to various casting sites, and they're out there. And whether they're good or not, nobody knows until they get hired or don't get hired or whatever it is. But, however good you are, you're competing with all those people as well. So it's a tough market. Do some homework.
That's so thoughtful. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so Dark asks, we have two more questions, and I think they're a little bit shorter, so we will release you soon. But Dark Acid always asks this question to every guest who's here. So the question is, what is your definition of the word bumfuzzle?
Bumfuzzle. Bumfuzzle is the lint that comes off your underwear and gets stuck in your butt crack. Bumfuzzle.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like dust bunnies. Dust bunnies are the bits of lint and hair and
Right.
fur and whatever else under the bed. So bumfuzzle is your butt lint.
Perfect. 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 I love it. Perfect. Flawless. All right. Amy Rose Sweeney asks, okay, so I feel like I should pay for a cameo for this one, so you could pass on this one. But Amy Rose Sweeney asks, can you say something awesome about Mxiety in the voice of Geralt? By the way, please, Doug is on Cameo, and please support him there.
Something nice about how do you say it? Mxiety?
Mxiety, like anxiety with
Mxiety.
an M. I don't know if that's a word he would know.
What, Mxiety?
Yeah.
Well, it's the name of you in your podcast.
Right. No,
stream.
You. Yeah, like Geralt. How would he say Mxiety?
Oh,
Is that
yeah,
even a
yeah,
word he understands? Yeah.
What would Geralt say? Well, if he was now, he would probably say, Mxiety, I really like your bow. It looks nice. What's the color? Is that teal? Brings out your eyes.
Thank you very much for that. But yeah, please, I'm posting the links. Please, Doug is on Cameo, so don't miss out on that opportunity. All right, and the last question we have for you today is, how long have you been in the UK? In which you didn't kind of answer that. You said 20 years. And is it long enough to miss pumpkin pie?
Oh, I will answer that, but really quickly, I just want to say hello. Chrissy Harley, I just saw her. Say hello. I run into her frequently online in various capacities, so
Aww.
have to give a little shout out to her. Say
Hi,
hello.
Chrissy.
I think I saw Hannah-mation on here earlier as well. I don't know if she's still there, but hello if you're still there, Hannah. Right, pumpkin pie. And what was the bit of the question before that?
Do you miss pumpkin pie? Because you're not in the US anymore.
You can get it over here now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when I first moved to the UK, 1999, I moved to the UK. And it was meant to be just for a year. My wife is dual citizen, US and UK, and we met in the US, but we decided to come over here for a year just to be closer to her family for a while. And then a year turned into...
Bam.
Yeah, now. So when I first moved over here, there were lots of things I couldn't get that I missed from the US. Butterfingers, Baby Ruths, Old El Paso taco seasoning, good burgers. They just didn't do it. Or they did, they had McDonald's, things like that, but you couldn't get a really good burger. Um, yeah, so yeah, there are a lot of things that you can get over here now, and most supermarkets here in the UK now have an American aisle, just like they have an
Right.
Asian or a Mexican aisle. They have a section that's just American candies, Lucky Charms, Cocoa Pops, um, you know, what are they called? Ed's hot dogs, Ed's dogs, or something like that. Jar full of really big hot dogs has shown up in Sainsbury's over here. So you can get lots of things now. You can on those same aisles get the tins of pumpkin pie mix.
Right. And that's like a lot. That's a big portion of pumpkin pie is that exact
Yeah,
the getting the what's the brand I'm thinking? Libby's pumpkin pie. That's the one.
Livy's. I don't know if it's Livy's over here or not, but it probably is.
Carnation maybe? That's another second
It's
runner.
definitely not Carnation.
Not
Livy's
Carnation.
probably more likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I literally, my wife and I were walking down the aisle one day and we saw pumpkin pie, and I just turned around and went, "We're having pumpkin pie.
We are making pumpkin pie.
Making pumpkin pie."
I was having a really rough day. It's funny that this came up. I was having a really rough day earlier today, and I looked at my husband because he makes his grandma's recipe pumpkin pie. It is amazing. And I looked at him and I was like, "Hun," I was like crying. I was like, "Hun, it's time for pumpkin pie." And he's like, "I can't make it today. I don't have time, but I will make you pumpkin pie."
Oh my.
uh,
There is just something about pumpkin pie, isn't there?
It's perfect. It's just perfect. It's a little spicy, it's a little sweet, it's a little savory. It's
Do you know what's really nice on top of pumpkin pie, or in it if you want to put it in it? A little bit of hot chili powder. Not like
Stop.
chili, not like meaty chili.
Right.
Like a
Like the
like a
powder.
bit of
Yeah,
just a
like
bit
red
of
pepper.
cayenne pepper.
Yes. Yeah. Well, normally I think pumpkin pie spice has a little bit of it in it, I want to say.
It does, but I've had it before where people have added it a bit more.
Mhm.
So you just get that little bit more of a tingle on your lips.
All right, let me know if you ever need me to send you pumpkin pie spice, by the way. I will send you a good one. They have really good one here at Trader Joe's. But oh my gosh, I don't think I can thank you enough. You stayed 9 minutes overtime, so fam, that's going on top of the bill, I'll tell you. But thank you so much. Can you tell us anything that you need to promote right now? I'm posting your links all over the place, but anything you'd like to promote or let people know that they should check out or go to, or whatever it is, and just anything you have closing remarks, go for it. The stage is yours.
Oh well, I've already mentioned Tales of Iron. It just came out last Friday, so it's brand new out there. It's a really cute game, and I don't mean cute in a negative way. You play a rat king who has to save his kingdom from the evil frog spawn who have invaded, and it's got really good combat system, really challenging. The art is amazing, and the world they've created is just it's I can't describe it, but it's worth checking out. Check out Tales of Iron. So that's it. That's out at the moment. I've got several projects underway that I can't talk about, but
Of
I can
course.
say I can say there will be more of me out there in games in the future.
Good.
So yeah. Oh, and you can look for me, a very small role in a cameo of a sort in a new Amazon television show coming out. I think it's going to start streaming sometime this autumn, but I'm not 100% certain, called The Power.
Okay.
And it's a book that's been turned into an Amazon TV series about girls all over the world who suddenly develop this extra organ in their body, and it allows them to shoot electricity out of their hands.
Well, who
That's
doesn't
all
want
I can
that?
tell you.
Well, who doesn't want? I sign me
Yeah.
up. Bleffel just posted a link to the Steam shop for Tales of Iron. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I want that ability. Sign me up tomorrow. All right, everybody, we are going to be right back. Thank you so much, Doug, for being here with you. Appreciate you so much. Everybody, go check out Doug's website. Follow him on Twitter. Pay him for a cameo. Do your worst. He's wonderful. Thank you so
do
much.
your best. Don't do your worst.
Yeah,
do your best.
Your best. Your best.
Be the light.
Be the light. Geralt said be the light. Cutting out. It's over. Thank you so much for being here. Bye, everybody.
You're very welcome. Bye, everyone.